Hello, my friends, and welcome back. Thank you very much for being with me again today. Mr. Dmitry Medvedev is back in business. It seems like his statements in the past year have been very tasty, very unusual, I must say, for him. He was considered the most pro-Western Russian leader in the whole entourage in the Kremlin. Maybe that's why now he's overdoing it, if you know what I mean. Maybe to cover his tail. But hey, let's see what's going on. I have two articles here. One from the USA Today and the other one is from Russia Today. They will both examine Mr. Medvedev's statements that he just made, and I will compare how they are quoted. So both articles will use the same words, the same quote from Mr. Medvedev, but one of these articles will insert a word that I will tell you what it is. That word is idiots. So let's see what's going on here. Let's start with USA Today, not Russia Today, USA Today. What a coincidence here. It's from Day. It says, Russia warns G7, and I'm quoting, idiots. This article comes from April 23rd, 2023, Sunday. Moscow will shut down the Black Sea grain deal that allows Ukraine to feed much of the developing world if the group of 7 nations decides to ban all exports to Russia. A top Russian official said Sunday. That's Dmitry Medvedev, okay? So Russia will stop saying, no, okay, you want to grab us by the balls, all right, we're gonna grab you a little bit by your dingy as well. So G7 countries, the United States, United Kingdom, Germany, France, Italy, Canada, and Japan are considering a near total ban on exports to Russia. Media outlets in multiple countries reported last week. Russia has for months threatened to halt the grain deal now set to expire next month. And I'm quoting Mr. Medvedev. Now this is what is important right here. This idea from the idiots at the G7 about a total ban of exports to our country by default is beautiful in that it implies a reciprocal ban on imports from our country. So I'm going to read it again. This idea from the idiots at the G7 about a total ban of exports to our country by default is beautiful, in that it implies a reciprocal ban on imports from our country. Former Russian president and current deputy of Security Council Dmitry Medvedev said in a post on his Telegram channel. I do not speak Russian, so I don't know if that includes this little term or not, but I will read you the Russia Today version of the same statement. But let's read here, adding, and I'm quoting, in such case, the grain deal and many other things that they need will end for them. All right, let's move to Russia Today. Ex-president warns G7 against banning exports to Russia. Very thoughtful guy right here. Moscow will forced to retaliate, Dmitry Medvedev said. Okay, let's read this, the same thing. And I'm quoting Mr. Medvedev. The G7 idea of a total ban on exports to our country is excellent, in that it also implies a reciprocal termination of exports from our country in the most sensitive categories for the G7. In this case, the grain deal and many other things they need will end for them, Medvedev wrote. So again, G7 idea of a total ban on exports to our country is excellent. Let's go to these guys. The idea from the idiots at the G7 about a total ban of exports to our country by default is beautiful. All right, so I don't see this one in the Russian translation there. Personally, I don't care if he used this word or not. I tend to think that he used idiots because he used other terms in the past year, and I don't see why he would not use that one. But hey, maybe friends that speak Russian could look into it, and maybe they will, let everybody know if that was or not in there. The problem is not that he called them idiots or not. He can call them however he assesses their mental abilities, which are very low in my assessment, or if they're very high, that means they're really, really big crooks. Okay, now what are the implications? So it says here, currently exports from Western states to Russia are, by default, allowed, while restrictions apply only to goods targeted by sanctions. According to reports, the G7 plans to put this ban forward at the group's next summit in Japan, scheduled for May, and to pressure the wider EU to join the action. On Friday, however, a senior EU official told reporters in Brussels that the prospect of a total export ban was discussed at the latest G7 ministerial meeting in Japan. Later the same day, Russian president spokesman Dmitry Peskov said that moves to completely ban exports to Russia could only, and I'm quoting, further exacerbate the global economic crisis. I totally agree with that. But hey, it seems like those not idiots in G7 know what they're doing. Banning exports to Russia would see more of the remaining trade flows from Western states to the countries scraped. While the volume of EU and G7 exports to Russia has almost halved over the past year amid existing restrictions, nearly $70 billion worth of goods from these nations is still exported to the country, according to Geneva-based Trade Data Monitor. Let's go to the US Today, is that what it is? Yeah. Since Russia invaded, the blah blah blah, boo boo boo, tra la la, unimportant. So, he's saying this. You guys, with or without the word idiot included in that, inserted in that, you guys, tra la, are going to do that. We're going to retaliate in the same manner. Now you can say, well, you have nothing to give us. Well, I don't know. We'll find out. But believe me, actually don't believe me, verify, okay? But just pay attention, and if you disagree with me, just look around. Since these blocks or these countries decided to do business with one another, that means that's a need, or at least they found the right partner in making deals. For instance, I have Gigi and he sells me these glasses with $3,000, but I have Ivan selling this for $200. It makes sense to buy the same kind of glasses that would provide me with the same benefit, which is, oh, hey guys, you know, that would be, I would go with these guys with 200 than the other ones for whatever, 2,000 or whatever amount I said. Doesn't make sense? Now imagine that now I cannot go and buy from Ivan for 200. I have to go and buy from Gigi with 2,000. What do you think is going to happen to me? Well, I'm going to buy it for 2,000 from these guys, and I'm going to put it on the market for $2,400. I'm going to make $400 profit. Now, who's going to buy this? Nobody. What's going to happen to me? Go bankrupt. If I go bankrupt, what my employees are going to do? Go on welfare? Who's going to pay for welfare? The government. Out of what? The Workers' Party. Yeah, the Nazi Workers' Party. They were going to pay from the taxes. But if you don't have employees, because a lot of countries have done deals like this, where are you going to get the taxes, the revenue to pay the guys that you got them fired or business was closed based on your little sanction? Where, I tell you where. You're going to borrow it from where? From international banking system. By the way, with, may I say it, interest. Who's going to pay for that? Somehow, these people that were fired today, their businesses that were closed, their children or their great-great-children will pay for this decision that was made today by these politicians. Good job. All right? So, that's how it's going to work. If you have other ideas, go ahead. I would like to hear them. Anyway, that's not what I said is not the ultimate truth here or anything like that. But I think this is going to be a main consequence of this. And the Russians will switch into India. The Europeans will switch into India and China. The problem is that, why? Because it's the cheap labor. And the same the Americans, or not, the Europeans. Who are they going to make work for them? What countries around there they can take? Because that's what they do. They have to go to Asia or something, or I don't know, South America or something where the labor market is cheaper. Well, the whole transport and all that is going to cost them more than if they would have done the business with the Russians close by. But anyway, This is one result or consequence of this beautiful sanctions that they will do. This, as Medvedev probably said, thank you very much. And believe me, those guys will be fired. The business will fall. No revenue, no taxes anymore for the government. How are they going to support their voters if they don't have taxes to pay for the programs? Thank you very much for being with me again today. Stay strong, stay smart, look for the truth, and be just.